Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that 200 hours to develop a friendship or connection. It reminds me of the like switch, similar in genre to Never Split the Difference, but the like switch was written by a CIA interrogator, or yeah, something like that. And there were three P's, and about developing a connection with somebody, and it was proximity. How close you are, and literally, like physically to them. Periodicity, how frequently you're near them, and then and the other P, I forget, so this synonym for intensity, like when you're with them, how intense the meeting actually is. What are you going through? That's why the service members, right, in the battlefield, they develop these tight knit brotherhoods. You
Yeah.
know,
In,
uh,
in a short amount of time.
exactly, but
Yeah.
it's intense,
Yes.
and they go through these. Yeah, these crucibles, these gauntlets, basic training and deployments and all that. And that's why simple things like retreats. You're together for an extended period. You're close together, and You're going through something together. So it's a shared bond experience. So when you're trying to make these connections, these friendships, you're going to need to go to where they are, and you need to participate in something together. You need to have that intensity, that proximity.
There's something really valuable you're saying here too, is that camaraderie isn't just being together, it's actually overcoming challenge together. So just working for the same company doesn't necessarily create camaraderie. But if you've overcome obstacle or challenge or adversity together, that's where that intensity creates those deep bonds. So things like retreats where you're pushing your body or you're pushing some emotional limit, like you're going through it together. So you'll actually form deeper bonds because of the intensity, because you actually overcome adversity together. And that's actually where that camaraderie sits. We, there's a retreat I run in Montana that I've been running for years. And we we hike and adventure together. We do a sweat lodge together. And the interesting thing is, for 8 years, there's guys that have never missed a year. They come back year after year because they form, in just a short amount of time, they form such unique bonds together that they're friends for life. So at a certain point, it's the same guys just keep coming back to the retreat because that connection and that bond, they're not necessarily getting in their everyday life. The other thing you brought up that's, I think, really important as well, Mel Robbins talks about this in her latest book, Let Them. She breaks it down to proximity, timing, and energy. That our friendships and bonds, like how often do we see each other? How close by do we run into each other? My best friend I saw every day for years growing up, and now he lives in LA and I live in Florida. So our proximity is greater. Timing is more about, like, well, what's that season of life that you're in? Like right now, I have a 2.5 year old. I spend a lot of time with dads that have little kids. Just, you go to games together, you go to, play dates together and things like that. Our timing of life is very accurate. And then energy is a lot of what you were talking about, that intensity, or having shared values, having a shared vision in life. Like, you're up to similar things. When those three things come together, especially in adulthood, we have a greater opportunity to create bonds more effectively and faster.
What do you think is some of the biggest challenges? What are some of the biggest challenges that men are facing right now when it comes to connection, masculinity?
I think overall, and I'm sure we could break this down into different aspects, but overall, I think it's isolation. It's an ironic time we live in, that we're we're more connected technologically than we've ever been, but I find that men feel lonelier and more isolated than we've ever been. If we look back in human development, we really, for a majority of our human existence, we lived in bands and tribes and small communities, and we filled functions. Some were warriors and hunters, and you know, but we were always we filled functions in a small community. It wasn't this uh, cosmic and existential dread of like, what do I do with my life and how do I go find myself? Like, no, you elevate the community. How do you do that? Go find food. How do you do that? Protect people. How do you do that? Like, make sure everyone's well fed. Like, it was simple. Now we still have that primitive programming to want to connect, to want to serve, to be part of something, to have shared mission. And yet we live in a culture which is, go sink or swim on your own and go, make something of yourself and be significant and don't make any mistakes along the way. And uh, until you do that, you're not worthy and valuable enough to have, companionship and community. And to me, we've got that completely lost and reversed. I think for me, having a young son, I live a lot by the philosophy of, I forget who said it, but I live a lot by the philosophy of life should be a series of daring adventures coming from a secure base. And the secure base is family and community, being part of something, having a sense of belonging, and then developing significance from that secure base. And right now, what I think we're challenged with is there's a lot of men that don't come from a secure base or don't feel they have a secure base now. So to ask them to take risks and be vulnerable and develop significance and relationships is a scary thing. And it can be a very isolating thing. And so we're left with the options of just, barrel through life and bulldoze everyone around you, or play it safe and don't take any risks. And I don't think either are healthy and sustainable options.